Hello chess friends and welcome to Yazad Chess channel and welcome to the last round of the Superbet Chess Classic in Romania. We're starting now this round with a beautiful positional game played by Bogdan-Daniel Deac against the world champion Liren, and this was in my opinion really beautiful positional line in the Queen's Indian defense with really cool defensive strategies, with cool attacking ideas, with opportunities for both sides. Very brilliant game. Let's see now what happened, and then at the end of the video I'm going to review who is the winner of this prestigious chess event from Romania. So with the white pieces, Bogdan-Daniel Deac started with the move d4. Ding's response was knight to f6, c4, e6, knight to f3, and now we have the Queen's Indian defense. So now g3 here, played by Bogdan-Daniel Deac, competing of course on this light square diagonal. Both players will eventually maybe line up these bishops against each other, and then there are many tactical possibilities. But now Ding goes into the so-called Nimzowitsch line. Here this idea is to of course immediately provoke some weaknesses in the position. If b3 happens, then probably black would continue with the move bishop to b4, forcing maybe bishop to d2. Then we would reach even some ideas of the kata opening, maybe not the same, but in a similar way if of course black plays something like d5, bishop to g2. So it's really a flexible opening. You can do really many things, but I think Bogdan-Daniel Deac chooses to play what's now becoming more and more popular line. Instead of this move b3, white now plays very often the move queen to c2, and this line has been also played in a beautiful game played by Nxd5 against Magnus Carlsen, in which Anish destroyed really Magnus with really beautiful tactical play. We'll see also similar ideas in this particular game. In the game now, c5 was played by Ding because the queen on c2 is more exposed than the queen on d1. So that's why black uses now this moment in order to somehow open the c file, and in some lines maybe even put the rook on the c file, and when something clears on the c file, then the queen could be a little bit in danger. So now that's why Bogdan-Daniel Deac plays this very spicy line d5. It's a gambit line. It's a really interesting line that sacrifices a pawn immediately but creates great attacking chances for white. So as I said, we're still following also the beautiful game between Nxd5 and Magnus Carlsen. So e takes d5, as we have c takes d5, bishop to b7 has to be played now by black. If you play knight to d5, this wouldn't be good. Then queen to e4 is of course winning the game immediately for white. If you cover yourself, and then of course the rook is hanging, so it's not working. After move c takes d5, bishop to b7 was played by Liren. With now we have bishop to g2, and now knight to d5, and now of course kingside castling. So far nothing wrong for both sides. Black gained the pawn, but white is having a better development, is now also playing in some lines some ideas of rook to d1. Will eventually also play e4, queen to f5, the knight can jump here, the bishop will come into the game, knight to c3 can be played. So you see the lack of development is obvious here in black's position, so that's why black needs now to be careful what black is doing. So in the game, bishop to e7 played by Ding, we have a rook to d1, and now comes a tricky line, knight to c6. If you pick up of course the knight on d5, then you get forked with the move knight to b4, and then you lose the exchange, so it's not working. So that's why queen to f5 played by Bogdan-Daniel Deac. We have knight to f6, we have e4 here by white, and now comes already the critical line. Here Liren plays the accurate move. I think he plays this move g6, and in the game between Nxd5 and Magnus Carlsen that happened in the Tata Steel this year, Magnus played a bad line, I think, with the move d6. Look at this, e5 is coming for sure. You have to play something like queen to d7, knight to d7, e takes d6. You have to step back, rook to e1 is going to happen. So as I said, Anish destroyed really Magnus in this line. Now you see Ding plays a more solid line, kicks away immediately the queen from this active square. The queen needs not to drop back on f4, and now finally Ding secures the king by casting. Now Bogdan-Daniel Deac plays e5, attacks the knight, but also controls the very important d6 square. There is now an obvious hole in the position. Look at this. We can use maybe then later the weaknesses around the square d6. b5 square is weak, also d5 square is weak. Many square weaknesses in black's position. You up a pawn, but you have several positional problems in the later stage of the game. Let's see now how Ding is defending this position. Knight to h5, beautiful counterattack, at least forcing white to do something, at least keeping him occupied. Queen to c4. If you play something like queen to h6, this wouldn't be so good because this pawn is hanging. Even if you try some counterattacks with the move g4, look at this. In some lines you can even sacrifice material here. Knight to e5, bishop to g2, king to g2, queen to e5. You pick up this one, but look at this. The queen is coming into the game, your rook is hanging, so it's really, really tough also for white to play the game, because we have to notice white didn't also develop all of the pieces now in the game, so you need to be careful really, really in this position. So that's why queen to c4 instead of queen to h6 here by Bogdan-Daniel Deac. We have queen to c7. Ding continues the pressure around the square e5, bishop to h6, attacking the rook, but now Ding again plays a beautiful counter attack against the queen, so he's not allowing the queen to be activated in a beautiful way, so that's why the queen needs now to drop back to e2. We have rook from f to e8. We have knight to c3, targeting of course the weakness on d5. As we said, d5, b5, d6, maybe even f6 are obvious targets now for white. White is trying to somehow hop on this squares and get positional advantages then in the later stage of the game. Ding activates now the last piece into the game, which is a solid choice of course. We have now knight to d5, and now bishop to d5, rook to d5, and okay, white has the bishop here, but I have to say something here. I think this bishop here is not really the most optimal. It's an open battle, it's a wild battle, but look at this. This bishop on g2 is now targeting nothing anymore. It's really aiming air, sort of. It's not really useful. I think when the bishop on b7 was still there, at least white light square bishop had some kind of a target. Now the whole attack is splashing, I think, a little bit for white here. It's not working. You're down a pawn, and now I think the main strategic goal of blacks is somehow maybe to get rid of this very annoying bishop on h6, and then maybe somehow get the knights back into the game, and then play somehow the move d6, getting rid of this backward pawn, getting rid of this weakness on d6, and then I think you have solved all of your positional problems. So as I said, it is a beautiful bishop pair. It is an open game. In many times in open games the bishops are perfectly fine, but now it seems to me that this bishop on g2 is not doing so much. It's just targeting this a8 square and nothing is there. In my opinion, from this point on, black should be even slightly better because black is up a pawn. So in the game, knight to g7. So you see, Ding is now using the momentum. He's now trying to get the knight on beautiful squares. e6, also maybe f5 is a beautiful square. Reroute the knight maybe from f5 to jump on d4. Now you see, black will eventually find its way into the game with the knights. The knights will get their way into the game. So it's not even a bad position for the knights, I think, here, because the knights have really opportunities here to get centralized, to get beautiful squares. So as I said, that's why I really don't like the bishop pair here of white. So in the game, rook from a to d1, of course, Bogdan-Daniel Deac continues the pressure around the square d7, but now Ding uses this beautiful square, knight to e6. It's almost as I always like to say, like in this game Tetris, when you have the perfect square for one perfect piece of yours, we are waiting simply the piece to get there on this beautiful square. And I think now the position is again solved here for black, although this is probably playable for both sides. So in the game, Bogdan-Daniel Deac continues the pressure on the king side, h4, knight to c6. Ding gets his pieces back into the game, and now maybe even the first inaccuracy in the game. Here, Bogdan-Daniel Deac plays h5, and this is not good because the queen is still lined up against the rook. This queen could be endangered because obviously black is trying to solve the positional problems with the move d6. We have said black has the backward pawn on d7, has also the weak square on d6. In order to solve it, black needs to play the move d6. You can expect it to come, and now when d6 is coming, then obviously the e file is going to be open and the queen could be in danger. So that's why this wasn't good. After move h5 here that Bogdan-Daniel Deac play, he's of course attacking the king, but queen to c4 has to be played first, and then later maybe you can play the move h5. But now Ding, as I said, is a great attacker, but Ding is also a great defender. He finds, of course, this beautiful defensive resource d6. We have e takes d6, bishop to d6, queen to c4, but now Ding gets an extra tempo against the rook. Rook drops back. Ding gets another tempo against the bishop. Bishop drops back, and now Ding gets activated on this beautiful square d4, and now the position is cemented in the center of the board. It's really compact, so nothing can happen anymore to black, I think. Look at this. These knights are powerful. They're controlling the center. They're creating great defensive strategies here. So in my opinion, nothing spectacular here for white. White has the bishop pair. Notice, as I said, this bishop targets still nothing, and from this point on, black should be even much better in my opinion. And notice, and it was now for the most time of the game, that black is simply up a pawn. So if this game reaches the full end game stage, this is game over for white. So in the game, bishop to knight to d4, knight to d4, we have now the move a4, which probably was an idea by white to stop the move b5, but maybe here bishop to g5 has to be played. I think Bogdan-Daniel Deac has to realize this now position, and he has to say to him now, okay, I made maybe necrosis, now maybe it's time to get for a draw. Maybe it's my idea now to somehow get the draw, because after something like bishop to e7, look at this, maybe we can play this kind of a line, rook to d4, rook to d4, rook to d4, bishop to g5. You cannot take, of course, in some of these lines the rook, because the queen on the c file is hanging. Now maybe rook to e4 can be played, and these are opposite colored bishops, so this could be a useful idea here for white, and probably I think this in top grandmaster level this game would end in a draw. You see, bishop to g5 was the way to go with the preparation then to play the move rook to d4, but unfortunately for Bogdan, he played the move a4, queen to d7 by Ding, bishop to e3, bishop to e5, controlling further the d4 square, because Ding cemented the position around the square. Now it's a beautiful square to protect it further. We have now h takes g6, maybe here even slightly better was the move b4, but in my opinion still nothing good here for white. Black is controlling the whole board, not a good position here for white. H takes g6 played by Bogdan. We have h takes g6, king to f1, we have king to g7, a5, and now queen to f5. Here Ding gets the queen more active. Bishop to c1, we have now rook to h8 by Ding. Now Ding had even maybe better choices. b5 was a beautiful choice here. Look at this. Instead of this move queen to rook to h8, b5 is even winning immediately the game. Look how devastating really this position for white is. Unfortunately for Ding, he didn't see it, but it would be, I think, a cool continuation. Look at this, what happens. For instance, you play queen to c5, rook to c8, now you pick up the pawn, but now there is the possibility of a queen sacrifice on d3. You have to step back. Of course, the rook is saying if you pick up the queen on d3, then you get checkmated with the move rook to c1. So it was immediately an idea here for Ding to win the game with the move b5. There's nothing that can be done. Look at this, really wild stuff. So but okay, Ding had a different idea in mind. Rook to h8, also perfectly fine, attacking the h file. Obviously also something is happening there. We have a takes b6, a takes b6, f4 is an attack, but you can really never pick up the bishop because of the activity of the queen on the f file. Rook to h2, rook to d2, rook to h8. Ding continues the pressure. I really don't want to show now the whole game what could have happened. If that happens, many lines are possible now. I think when you are dominant in the position, it's just important for you to find one line that works for you. It doesn't have to be the +7 line. You can find the +4 line and still winning for you. So you don't have to find really the biggest evaluation line. You have to find a line that fits for you, that's maybe simplified for you, that you can see till the end, because you see this bigger evaluation lines are of course complicated, maybe tactical lines by the top engines. This is human chess, of course. You see maybe the +4 line, but you know that you are winning this line. So in my opinion, we should not really evaluate now this game anymore what could have been better here for Liren, because he keeps his plan, he's still attacking the position, and he will eventually get somehow through, because the king is naked here, the knight is centralized, the queen is active, the bishops is very active, rook are coming into the game. So it's simply a one-way ticket here in black's favor. So queen to d5, we have bishop to f6, queen to f5, knight to f5, but new problems. G3 weak, B2 weak, rooks are coming in the game. Bogdan tried rook to D3, protecting now the pawn. We have C4 kicking with the rook drops back on a weird square on A3. We have now the move B5, so here Ding continues the pressure with this 2 versus 1 pawn majority. On the queen side, we have now the move G4, but now a beautiful move here, and that was the last final and beautiful touch here by Ding Liren. Rook to H1, rook sacrifice, bishop to H1, rook to H1. You have to play king to E2 in order to connect the king to the rook here, but now comes a beautiful move, knight to D4, and whatever you do, for instance, if you play king to D2, then you get checked. You can maybe play king to E3, but now look at this, with rook to E2, you get even checkmated. If you play something like king to E1, then bishop to H4 is coming into the game, rook to F1, rook to H1 is again winning material, so it's not working. So that's why after move knight to D4, Bogdan had to sacrifice the rook back. Ding also picks up, of course, the piece on D4. We have rook to A1, B4 here by Ding, king to F3, rook to E1. Now the idea is to play something like bishop to E3. As I said, maybe there are again better lines, but I think the most natural way to win the game is to play bishop to E3, forcing trades of pieces, of course win the exchange, and with this 2 versus 1 pawn majority, simply push the pawns and the game should be over. F5, and after move G5. Here in this position, Bogdan-Daniel Deac resigns. So whatever happens, for instance, now you play something like rook to B1, as I said, the easiest way is to play something like B3, rook to A1, and now bishop to E3, and this should be enough to win the game. So, okay, the really cool game played by Ding Liren. Interesting ideas for sure in the queens in the defense. Ding defended the position in a beautiful way. First regrouped, first found his chances to defend the position, and then eventually he took over, activated the pieces again, tried to find the best squares in the position, activated the rooks on the H file. Great ideas we have seen for sure. Great game played by the world champion Ding Liren. So when it comes to the current standings and the current result and the final results of this event, Fabiano Caruana is the winner of this event. Look at this, really wild stuff. And the cool part is, look at this, we have many players with 5 pawns: Alireza Firuja, Vasily So, Anish Giri, and Richard Rapport. So really interesting tournament was for sure. Firuja finished on the 2nd place, but look at Alireza's performance. He lost 2 games, won 3 games. So out of the 9 rounds, he played 5 decisive games. He played really dynamic chess. Also congratulations to Alireza. Vasily So, always great in tournaments. Look at this, Vasily didn't lose any games, like Anish Giri. Really wild stuff. Incredible performance by all of them. Richard Rapport, also a great attacker, always spicing up the game. Duda won the game against Alireza in a beautiful way. Maxim, always interesting. But look at this, Jan Nepomniachtchi and Ding Liren didn't play, of course, their best chess. Maybe they should have skipped even this event. I'm not sure. Maybe it was time for them just to maybe slow down a little bit, maybe take 2-3 weeks off, because they had a great preparation for the World Chess Championship match. I think this kind of an event is devastating for you. You cannot really focus on the best next thing. So maybe really they should have skipped this one, because this is obviously not how they are playing chess. These are better players than their current performance. Although we have to say, sometimes maybe Alireza will finish on the 9th place and Jan Nepomniachtchi will finish on 2nd place. This elite grandmaster level is a little bit different. Everyone can beat everyone. Look at this, when the wolf is not there, sometimes the chicken take over. You know the expression. So see, Magnus Carlsen didn't play here, and now everyone can beat everyone. Usually Magnus wins this kind of events, but in my opinion, it was still a beautiful chess event for us to follow. Great games we have seen, great theoretical knowledge. But congratulations to the winner, Fabiano Caruana. As I always like to say, he was always to me the real number 2 in the world. Fabiano plays really awesome chess, really great positional, strategic chess, healthy chess. He knows how to develop, he knows how to activate the pieces, he finds new ideas. Many times I've seen great theoretical notes by Fabiano. So again, congratulations to win such a beautiful and strong tournament in 2023. So okay, I hope that you love this event, and I hope that you enjoyed my coverage. We will follow many tournaments so in the next couple of months, in the next couple of weeks. Also in Croatia, there will be a tournament. I will cover it too for sure. If you want to see more beautiful games like this covered here on my YouTube chess channel, here's the link of our whole playlist. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.